Hello, I'm Jason, President and CEO of Complex Community Federal Credit Union, and we're excited to be with you again for another series of Money Saving Mondays. What are Money Saving Mondays? Well, we're going to cover a wide variety of topics. We're going to touch on things like savings, investing, insurance, how to buy a house, how to buy a car, credit reports, a whole wide variety of different topics. But we couldn't do it without the partnership with UTPB. We'd like to give a special thanks to Dr. Woodley, Dr. Spurlock, and Diana Ortiz. These ladies, along with the entire UTPB faculty and staff, are focused on you discovering a greater success as you leave to go out to the world. Thanks again, UTPB. Why do we teach financial capabilities? 78% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. 3 out of 4 people. That's a lot of people. What does it mean to live paycheck to paycheck? That means you don't have money to save or invest. You don't have money for food. You might not have peace of mind. You might lose choices or opportunities out there. It adds stress to your life. One of the greatest things you can invest in is your college education and you understanding the financial capabilities. At the end of every session, we're going to have a question and answer period. We'll have our contact slide so you can be able to send us your questions. If we don't touch on your questions in class, send it to us and we'll circle back and answer those questions again in the next session. We're excited. We're ready to run with our Money Saving Mondays.
Hi there, Lisa with Complex Community Federal Credit Union, talking today about debt management. Why do we want to talk about debt management? That's not fun. I'm going to tell you why. Credit card debt in the United States is over $750 billion. That's a billion with a B, according to Experian. That's a huge amount of debt. Stresses us emotionally, mentally, physically. We don't need all of that overbearing debt. It makes us suffer from things like depression, anxiety, migraines, ulcers, high blood pressure, and so much more. So if money's a stressor in your life, it's time to take control. Let's figure out how to do that. So there are 8 truths about debt. The first one is advertisers lie. You do not need credit to live lavishly. Think about the wonderful, fun things that you can do with your friends and your family that don't cost a lot of money. Man, those credit card companies want you swiping every day. Let's not do that. Number 2, spending less can lead to bigger rewards. So we teach all the time about delayed gratification, sacrificing today so that I can have something bigger and better tomorrow. Think about spending less. So number 3, paying on time is vital to success in the credit world. You want to gain the respect of your lenders. You want to raise your credit score as high as it can be because that makes sure that your interest rates are as low as they can be. Step number 4, every decision regarding credit and debt deserves thoughtful consideration. This means you're budgeting. It means when you're paying off a loan, you're considering maybe which loan to pay off first. You're doing the math, you're working hard, you're looking at interest rate, you're looking at fees. Step 5, you pay the price for credit card advantages on every statement. Credit card companies make money off of the fees and interest that they charge you. Remember, they're in the business to make money, and we're okay with that. But if you fail to pay off your total balance every month, now you've moved from a convenient way to pay for things for what could be a very expensive way to pay for things. Number 6, paying off debt is always better than just the minimum payment. You need to manage your credit card debt to where hopefully you're paying it off every single month. What that means is you're using credit, you're using the credit card company's money, and you're not paying any interest to do it. Very best situation, pay it off every single month without fail. Number 7, freedom from debt is priceless. There's a saying that rich is the man who owes no one, and that is so true. Financial concerns, one of the biggest issues in marriages, one of the biggest issues in why young people drop out of school. People are talking about money and arguing about money all the time. Freedom from debt. Let's do that. And finally, 8, you can determine your own financial future. You really can. Planning helps us to be prepared when life happens and those bad things come along and you've got to replace a tire or you've got a broken leg. But planning and having that nest egg set aside means you can breeze right through those situations financially. So let's talk about the positives of credit. A lot of people think credit's a terrible, terrible thing. It's really not. And quite frankly, for most people, you can't buy a home without borrowing the money. A lot of people can't buy a car without borrowing the money. So it's more about how do we manage credit? Do we understand our personality as it is related to credit? And can we use a little bit of self-control? Credit cards offer great convenience, worldwide acceptance. Pretty much anywhere you go nowadays accepts credit cards, even the vending machines. You have access to funds in case of an emergency, protection from loss and theft that's provided by the credit card companies. And all the while you can build great credit and have a great credit score so that when you do make those big purchases, you're paying the lowest possible interest rate. And then finally, credit reports have the power to show potential lenders, lessors, or even employers that you have great credit, you're accountable, and you have a good reputation. So let's use credit wisely. All types of credit take a great deal of responsibility. Again, understanding your relationship with money, understanding your relationship with those credit cards. And that has to be taken into consideration. Make sure you're using your credit wisely to build a great credit history, but don't rely on credit alone for emergencies. You want to have that healthy savings account for those uh-ohs in life, for those times when life happens. And when you use a credit card for large purchases, make sure you're realistic on how the payments will affect your overall budget. So some potential problems of credit. Paying with credit doesn't feel like spending money. You lay down a $100 bill, you feel the pain of that leaving your pocketbook or your bank account, but credit really doesn't feel that way. So that's dangerous. It also creates a disconnect between the expense and the repayment. Cost can be added to the value of the purchase with fees and interest that you might pay if you're not paying off that credit card in full every single month. Carrying debt can make it hard to practice good money management, can make it difficult to stay within your budget, and it makes it more difficult to save. And remember, we need that healthy savings account for those emergencies in life. And then over-reliance on credit can lead to the inability to repay, which then leads to the cycle of delinquent payments, more fees, more interest, and in the most extreme cases can lead to bankruptcy. So where do I start managing my debt? Well, first of all, we control the trajectory of our financial futures, and sometimes that means we must take time to course correct. Number one, stop creating new debt. Some people think that they can borrow their way out of debt. I don't really understand that thinking, because when you do the math, it never works out. It's easier said than done to reduce your debt, but you have to start with no longer borrowing money. Start by making small purchases and building on them. Realize that there may be setbacks along the way, and that's okay. Don't let them scare you away from continuing to create a better financial future. Number two, analyze your debt. Make a list of absolutely everyone you owe. Take the total value, the interest rate, and the monthly payment, put it in a chart or on a spreadsheet. Credit cards, student loans, loans at your financial institution. Maybe you owe your mom some money. All of that should appear on this page. Remember that the minimum payment on a credit card is not enough if you want to be truly debt-free. And then update that every single month as you're making payments and you're no longer charging or creating more debt. And you'll start to see that debt reduce over time. When you pay off one loan, take the money you were paying on that loan and add it to the payment you're making on another loan. And man, that snowball is going to really get you where you want to be in a hurry. Step three, you need to analyze your income. Make a list of all the money coming in, current income, part-time job, maybe you've got a side hustle, put it all on the page as well. And then number four, we want you to calculate your debt ratio. Lenders look at this. It's a very important piece of the equation. And so your debt ratio is simply all of the credit or all of the debt that you have out there divided by your net income. So if you owe $50 and you make $100, your debt ratio is 50%. That's really high. We're looking for things maybe around 30, 35%. How much is too much? Well, I just said that anything over 30 or 35 is too high. But man, if you can keep your debt ratio in the 20% range, you're really doing a pretty good job. Of course, the lower the better, but especially as a young person, you've got a house, you've got a car, you've got a family. So keeping it extra low, 10%, is going to be tough. But let's shoot for 25% or low, and you're always going to be in a fairly good position. Number 5, we need to set goals. You need to look at the big picture, do an honest evaluation. If you don't really write down all of your debt and you're just going to keep some off to the side, you're not really looking at the big picture, and you're not being honest with yourself. Remember those wants versus needs. You need to make sure you really understand that concept. Create a budget and stay with it. Practice that delayed gratification so that you can eliminate unnecessary spending. You really don't need the $20 pizza. Probably a $5 pizza from the grocery store, or better yet, something homemade would be better. And then save with a purpose. Put a name on those dollars. Maybe it's a new house. Maybe it's a college fund for your child. But you want to make sure that you name those dollars. It's a lot easier to save and a lot harder to take money out of that savings if it has a name. Number 6, talk to lenders. We're people too. We understand that bad things can happen to good people. And we want you to be able to get into that car of your dreams or be able to buy that home. And so we're going to work with you, and we're going to help you to kind of dissect your debt picture, your financial picture, and help you get to that better place. The best thing that you can do is call and explain your situation if you want to try to work something out. So for example, let's say you are behind on your credit card bills. Don't ignore them. Call the lender, call the credit card company, see if you can work something out. And when you're talking with them, be calm. They really do want to help you. And when you get crazy, they're just going to get crazy too. Don't promise to pay more than you can afford. At the end of the day, if you can afford $20, that's what you can afford. Don't promise more and then let the lender down. And then have a plan, but be willing to negotiate. Number 7, sell assets to lower the balance. Man, have a garage sale, put it on eBay, Craigslist, whatever you need to do. But think about the assets that you have that could be sold to improve that cash flow and lower the balance on any debts that you owe. Number 8, increase your income. Depending on your situation, you might be able to pick up some additional shifts at work. You might be able to work some overtime. Get a second job. Do that side hustle. Be creative. Pet sit while your neighbors are out of town. Mow someone's lawn. Use the gifts and skills that you have. And remember this, hopefully it's only temporary. If you'll sacrifice now, get your financial life in shape, then you've got freedom down the road that is going to make that side hustle or that extra job well worth it. Number 9, refinance or consolidate debt. Now be careful here. Don't refinance and add to your debt by taking some extra cash out when you are refinancing. We're saying take these dollars at this interest rate and refinance it to a lower interest rate. If you can continue to make that same larger payment you were making at the higher interest rate, that's a total win. But what you're trying to do is you're trying to get all of your debt into one bundle, make one big payment a month, so you're really knocking it down as quickly as you can. So some things to consider when consolidating your debt. Don't be pressured by debt consolidation companies. Run fast away from them. The majority of them are not looking out for your best interest. Talk to your local credit union or bank. They will take good care of you. Do your research. Understand any fees that are involved. There should not be a fee to fix your credit. Anything that a credit fix agency can do, you can do yourself by visiting with one of your local credit unions or banks. They can help walk you through that process. And then understand what the process for repayment is. Again, don't agree to anything that you can't afford and you can't do. Number 10, you got to develop that plan. And so everything we've talked about up till now is really leading to this point. But you've done everything you can. You've analyzed, You've talked to people about refinancing or consolidating debt. You've talked to a trusted financial advisor in your life. Maybe it's your credit union professional. Maybe it's a family member whose finances are in excellent shape. And finalize that plan. And here are two things that can help you to dramatically reduce your debt quickly. Pay more on the principal. Pay more on the principal. My payment is $30. I'm going to pay $50. I'm going to get rid of that debt much more quickly. And then roll up the payments. Remember I said when you pay off completely one line of debt, one credit card, one loan, take what you were paying on that one, add it to the payment on your next loan, and then it'll pay off more quickly. And again, continue to do that until you've got all your debt paid down. So, warning, let's talk about predatory lending. We don't like predatory lenders. They're small dollar short-term loans. They're generally secured by a vehicle title or a promise to repay when you get your next paycheck. We've seen payday loans and title loans in excess of $400 in interest. Guys, this is the kiss of death. You need to go anywhere else but a payday lender or a title loan facility. Come to your local credit union. We can't always fix it. Your local bank, they can't always fix it, but they can certainly speak some wisdom to you and help you to kind of get on track in the interest rate that are in the direction that you want to be. It's not going to happen overnight, so you're going to have to persevere. You're going to have to really, practice those wants versus need, that delayed gratification. But all of those things coming together can work for your good and help you build a strong financial future. Stay away from the predatory lenders, please, please, please. And you need to learn to save and save with a purpose. So when we teach financial capability, we use the term PYF. You should pay yourself first every single time you receive money. $10 check from grandma, I'm going to save 10% of that. I'm going to put $1 in my savings account. I get my $500 paycheck, 10% of that $50 is going to go right into that savings account. This is a game changer. First of all, when those unexpected things happen in life, you're going to have a nest egg for that. Hopefully it's going to help you to appreciate the fact that you do have some money in the bank and you're going to stay away from unnecessary debt. You need to live and breathe your budget. It's a living document. You don't make it one day and follow it for the next 20 years. It's very fluid, so treat it that way. Revisit your budget every single month. And don't forget to name that savings account. If you have money in savings and it's for a new car, you're much less likely to save it or to spend it if every single time you look at your account online or you receive your statement in the mail, it says savings account for new car. It's just a mind switch that's very helpful for so many. So remember, life is all about choices. We talk about this all the time. Life is all about choices. We want you to have all the choices whenever you're out there. Debt can suck the potential from your future, but savings creates new possibilities. By setting goals and lining out plans to reach them, we're creating for ourselves a present where we are no longer bound to yesterday's choices and a future that's full of new choices and opportunities. So we've been talking about debt management. Today I have Madison Hankins, our financial capability expert at the credit union, with me to answer a few questions. You up for it?
Yes, ma'am.
I've got 2 or 3.
All right,
Okay,
I'm ready.
Here we go. So one thing that I did not talk about in the video, but I think is so important, is this whole I deserve it mentality. Talk to me about that.
So a lot of times we hear, I deserve the fancy car.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I deserve the new pair of shoes. I deserve to get to go eat at the fancy steakhouse. I deserve it. I hate to tell you. I'm sorry to be that person. You do not deserve those things. What you deserve is a strong financial future.
Yeah.
You deserve to have the freedom that comes along with being debt-free. You deserve to have the empowerment that having a savings account that's available to you when there are emergencies, and that freedom and that that strength and power that comes from having that strong financial future. You deserve opportunities because you've made choices now. So if you want that fancy pair of shoes and it's in your budget, great. It's in your budget. If you want something and it's something you can save for it. That's great. But you do not deserve that right now. Delayed gratification is a game changer, especially for young people, but for all people. That idea that if I wait and I save my pennies now and I reject that instant feel good, that I can have something bigger, better, greater in the future is everything. Because I deserve that strong financial future. I don't deserve the fancy car, shoes, and dinner.
You know, and you said something really key there, that bigger, better, greater. I don't know how many times, like with my own son or even myself, I'm like, man, I want that and I've worked hard. But when I practice that delayed gratification, what I find is that when I'm ready to spend, I wouldn't have bought that, right? I mean, I'm going to save up and I'm really going to get the thing that I really want. That I've researched that fits my needs, my wants, all of those other things.
Yes.
And so delayed gratification really keeps us away from that stuff that's going to wind up in my next question, which is, do I really need to sell all my stuff to get out of debt?
I hate to tell you again. Yes. Yes. Y'all, stuff is just stuff. Financial freedom, being debt-free, that weight being lifted off your shoulders, that's everything.
Yeah.
So how many of us have stuff that's just collecting dust? We're not using it, we're not wearing it, we don't even really like it. We bought it because, oh, it's cool right now, but I never touched it again.
We didn't practice delayed gratification
Nope.
when we bought it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, we live in a society that collects those things, those material possessions that don't bring us the freedom that comes from being debt-free. I mean, on every street corner is a storage rental place, a storage unit rental place for the junk that we can't fit in our houses. So spend some time culling through that. You're not going to miss the shirt you didn't even wear or like, or the whatever fancy technology that you didn't use. When you finally get to that place where your goals are met and you're debt-free and you're financially secure and you have that savings account and you have that ability to have more opportunities, make those choices, you're not even going to remember that stuff. So allow it to help you in the process. Sell it and use that money to pay off some of that debt.
Okay. That might hurt, but I think it's great advice, because I think any of us could walk around the house and find a whole bunch of stuff that we don't interact with in any way. We don't wear it. We don't utilize it. It's I mean,
it's just
my
an extension of that.
cupboard alone could,
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
That extension of needs versus wants. When you're starting to purchase things, you're practicing sorting out, is this a need? Is this a want? Well, once you own it, you're really going to know, is this a need or is this a want? So think about it in that way. Do I really need this, or did I want it and now I need to sell it because I need to get myself to I need to course correct. I need to get myself to that better financial future.
Excellent. Thanks for joining us today. This was fun.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.